everyone, and welcome to Organic Matters, the podcast brought to you by the Irish Organic Association. We're in a lovely shed and I'm surrounded by that golden thing called straw, which is in short supply around me in Limerick at the minute. But I'm in the farmyard here of Aoife and Eamon Campbell. Thank you very much for having me on your farm. I'm looking at some lovely caramel coloured beef cattle. So is it primarily beef that you do here, or what else is going on?
Yeah, we've sucked our cows, so and then we carry them through to stores, I suppose, and generally hope to sell from there on. So this is 2025. We just turned organic this year.
Full symbol. Yeah, you've done your 2 years.
So we had our 2 years conversion before that.
And Eamon, we were walking into the yard and you were lamenting the fact that some rats got your combi crop. But is this some of the combi crop that the cattle are eating in front of us? I know it looks a bit different. So what are they eating?
Yeah, this is the combi crop that we planted in I think it was mid-April. Be a mixture of peas, barley, red clover and grass. Was grown for about 10 weeks and cut on 1st of July. So.
And it looks fantastic and smells really rich and lovely as well. And what are you feeding it to?
It's been fed to heifers here. Unfortunately, we went down with TB there, so these heifers normally wouldn't be hanging around, but we have no choice but feed them on a bit now. So you have to offer the leg of these ones the best you can give them, to push them on. And
will you be hoping to finish them through good herdsman then?
Yeah, we haven't generally went that direction, so I don't know. Was a couple of talks where they were talking about having to book them in, which I don't know how that goes, booking cattle in this country before just didn't work too well, but yeah, we'll have a look at it when it comes a bit closer and see where we go.
They're a lovely type of animal. Are you aiming for kind of purebred cattle, or do you use a different bull every year, a different breed of bull?
We'd use we generally have had a Limousine bull before, and we've had the last two have been Charolais bulls, but we would use AI on the heifers. So we've brought in silage. There would be a bit of silage running through the cows. So the kind of a silage Limousine Charolais cross, maybe the odd little bit of Angus. So that's kind of the mix that you'd be looking at there.
Are you typically spring calving, or do you do any autumn calving?
We're maybe 25 cows in the spring and 15 in the autumn. It's roughly what we're at now. We've cut back. We would have had maybe 55 cows pre-organic and pre-TV, but we were going to cut back anyway to scale back to what the farm could hold. So we've probably changed our system a little bit from selling the bull whalens to now castrating them, carrying them through as bullocks, and I suppose everything maybe selling from around the 18 months plus on is the system now.
And you have the cattle are on slats in front of us, but there's a lie-back area behind us. Did you have to adapt your shed when you changed to organic?
We did, all right, yeah. So out here we've built on an extra straw bedded area. So if you want to,
we'll walk on through there. And I should have said your daughter Mairead is here. She's keeping an eye on everything as well. So yeah, we've got the full farm family here now. Do you use... Oh, I see one. It looks like a touch of Aubrac.
Yeah, we had two Aubracs.
Okay.
So we did. So one is a good cow. The other one is not so successful. She hadn't a lot of milk. So yeah, it was kind of dabbling in the Aubrac and they were easy calving as well. So that was and then you could see our more typical silage one, the good rich red colour there.
And they're lovely size and shape. I think any beef breeder would be very happy to have those heifers, or where there was those cows in their sheds. They'd be very impressed. The kale as well. Is that a new thing, Eamon, or have you been doing it throughout the years? Because you're growing kale. Is it to outwinter them on?
Yeah, we're outwintering the younger heifers, bullocks there. This is only our second year, so we're basically still learning. Last year was our first year. We had a very good crop, but just not as good this year. Different field, obviously, and a dry month of August didn't help the growth rate, But overall, I'm quite happy with it. There's bales down the centre of it, red clover silage there down the centre of it. So overall, the heifers are doing quite well on it,
And what kind of variety of kale do you use? Is it the same type that you used before?
Well, it came out of Cork. What was the name of it?
Yeah, from Fruit Hill Farms.
Fruit Hill Farm.
Fruit Hill
we got
Farm,
it from.
yeah.
I think it was this year was a different variety because we couldn't get, we had to get a derogation to get the seed this year. So I just actually looked last night and it was a different variety. I can't think of the name of it. But you notice actually because last year the leafy turnip, the turnip itself was very small, whereas this year we're seeing a bigger turnip,
Okay,
you know.
yeah.
So we'd more leaf, less turnip last year. This year maybe there's a little bit more turnip and
Okay.
not as much leaf, so the different variety. So that's
It looks so traditional, doesn't it? When you see it,
whereas
yeah.
Before they were only like the small little ones, hardly the hand.
And the cattle eat them just straight, because it is for any non-farmers listening. It is essentially a turnip. That's what it looks like.
exactly,
And the cattle just eat them the way.
Well, the cattle
The-
don't
well, it's-
really eat it now.
No.
When they are
It's-
grazing, they'd eat maybe the top quarter of it,
It's
but
the
that's about
leafy
it.
part of it is what we were aiming for. That's what we were looking for. But
That
anyway,
probably suits sheep more than cattle, you know.
Yeah.
but they will come back.
Can you do anything with the root that's left?
I don't know, it'll probably finish up rotting into the ground. Somebody
Might be like straw. Might be like a straw incorporation, turnip incorporation. And might help the
Could be
soil.
good for the soil structure,
Yeah.
possibly.
neighbour told me here to gather them, but I think you'd want to be a bit on the mad side to go down that route.
Organic turnips. You never know. Christmas is coming. There might be a market for them. The shed. Did you use tams or anything like that? The organic tams to build it, or did you just bite the bullet and go for it?
Just bit the bullet and went ourselves. Eamon himself would have done a bit of steel erecting, so kind of using his skills, and a neighbour helped with the construction of the shed. And then we went for the green hills, what do you call it?
Triple skin.
Triple skin heat what's it called? Heat guard system or
shield.
something, heat shield system. So it's a clearer roofing rather than the traditional cladding.
Oh, I hadn't realised that actually. Yeah, because
Yeah.
there's lots of light coming through into the shed, isn't there? Yeah.
It does. If you look if you stand in the old slatted shed, it's much darker. Whereas this is much brighter, and
'Cause they love a bit of sunshine. It's great for them as well.
We like it ourselves. Yeah. That's it. And then just a bit of storm cladding, the Clonmel sheet. What do you call it?
Well, there's a UV sheet on the top of it. In the summertime, it doesn't transfer the heat
Okay.
into the shed. Like, it reflects it off.
And how is that price wise in comparison to the galvanised?
Well, this was bought in 2023,
It would have been. Yeah.
and it actually worked
Then
out cheaper than the steel because steel was expensive that year.
Yeah.
It's levelled up a bit more now. It's probably a little bit dearer. We actually bought the next. We're adding the piece out here as well. I only bought that this year. There'll be another 30 foot by 4 bays put on here, and it's a little bit more expensive now than the tin sheeting, but I'd be quite happy with it the way,
Eamon found it easy. It's lighter, that bit lighter, so to handle it, it was a little bit easier job.
Yeah.
No, it's lovely actually. Yeah, because I find that with the cattle at home, they're always kind of searching for that little bit of sunshine. Yeah, they do enjoy it. Yeah. And because animal welfare is very important to you on this farm as well.
Ah, yeah. Well, sure, look, do what you can, isn't that it? Yeah. So, well, I suppose when you're, especially when you're rearing your own and everything, there's that bit more of a bond with them, I suppose, isn't that it? And you've cows that are from one year to the next, their personalities and characteristics. So that's it.
So where usually traditionally has your market been, I guess, this is your first full year in organic. Yeah. So are you searching for other organic farmers to sell weanlings to? I know TB at the minute is an issue for you, but ideally where would you like to go if you didn't have TB?
Yeah, I suppose up until this we would have always sold in Carnaross Mart. So I suppose we'll have to, and I know go to any of the organic talks of that about the problem of leakage from organic farms going into the ordinary conventional farm systems. So we'll have to have a think about that and maybe talk to Julian and others that are trying to link us up between each other and see what we'll do. Drumshanbo was a bit far away. Like ideally, I know Ballymahon is started now, so ideally if there was even just a slot in Carnross or delving in some of the local marts every so often, or and I suppose we could advertise them on the organic hub, the organic trading hub, and see where we go from there too.
Yeah.
I wouldn't really imagine, like, you know, for us to head away to an organic sale now that's an hour away or an hour and a half away and have to sit there all day in case you don't sell to come home again. Like, really, the local mart, it should be up to the Organic Association now to look for a slot in these marts. If you were a buyer from Limerick or wherever, you can log on if you know the organic cattle's coming at 11, 12, 1 o'clock or whatever, you know.
I'd imagine, though, I mean, your cattle are so fit and well-rounded for beef cattle. I imagine that you'd have people coming here trying to buy them, even if you were to, and advertise on the trading hub or on Dundeal Organic Weanlings or something like that. I mean, they're a very classic size, shape and colour. I'd imagine people would be dying to get their hands on them.
We're only new to it, really, and this is our first year, got full organic symbol, so yeah, it's all.
Yeah. I'd imagine there'd be plenty of demand for them.
Well, in the market in the last 12 months, like the way cattle prices have went, you know, really and truly the market is the place to be for if you want competitiveness, you know.
I'm not biased, but I think you've lovely cattle. I don't think you'd have any trouble anywhere you went with them. In terms of actually converting to organic, what was the thinking behind it?
I suppose probably maybe a couple of farmers we knew who were organic and could see that it was doable, you know, and not to be afraid of it. Also then, I suppose, the price of fertiliser was another factor, and obviously the organic scheme, the organic farming scheme, the subsidies there, that was a big factor. So I kind of figured, we knew that the land wouldn't be able to carry as much as when you're pumping in fertiliser, so sort of figured that with collecting the organic farming scheme subsidy and cutting out a fertiliser bill, that those two things alone would compensate for maybe loss of, if there was a loss of sales of, you know, the number of cattle you'd have to sell. So that was part of our thinking. And then to be more environmentally friendly, obviously the whole environment, you know, climate change, all of that fed into the thinking as well. So I suppose they were and a challenge. It's good to have a challenge sometimes, not to keep doing things the same way year in, year out. So it has been a challenge, and because we never would have broke ground here before, it would have all been in grass. So even just doing the wintering on the kale and then running the whole crop silage afterwards and growing a bit of red clover silage, it's kind of it's been stimulating and rewarding too, to see how things go, you know. And
you would be amazed at how much grass actually grows without chemical fertiliser, like, you know.
Yeah, it does just grow, actually. Yeah, it does.
Like, well,
people get surprised sometimes when they hear that, but it does, yeah.
Yeah, well, I have said to a couple of people just over the year or so, I said, like, you know, when you take the cost of growing that extra sort of 40%, it adds up to a lot, like, you know, and that's really what you are doing, is pushing to get 40% more. You know,
then
so.
Using paddock system, I suppose that's been a big thing, Eamon, is...
Well, we were doing that anyway. We were paddocked, but we're probably
the electric fence reel and the pigtail posts have been our friend, isn't that?
It means you get your steps in as well, yeah.
Yeah. Look, I suppose paddock system in any farming now is the big thing, isn't it? Like, we'd be quite happy with the way things is going, but as Aoife said, like, it's all a learning curve, you know. We're no experts. You just keep going from, you know, what's right and what's wrong as you go along. It's not
I think it's going very well for you guys, honestly. I think every farmer's a bit tough on themselves, but you seem to have a lovely system here. We'll come to the end of the podcast, but is there anything that you want to add before we finish up? Any kind of thoughts?
Oh, just the red clover out there. We had a phenomenal crop of red clover there after we cut the combi crop off it. And
this year,
yes,
a different field. It didn't grow just quite as well the previous year, but that's different, maybe different fields.
Yeah, we did a different time of the year too. A couple of different things. I actually stitched it I wasn't happy with it this year.
This is the old field.
This is the old field, yes. Yeah. We're possibly going to try a different idea this year. Aoife came across an organic fertiliser, something Germany, was it, or something there?
Oh yeah.
Potash,
yeah.
We're going to try that instead of going in on it with a slurry tanker. It doesn't like compaction at all, so just keep the load down on it and try that and see does it work. You know, anything to get your.
Yeah, 'cause your slurry and your dung is so important, and
it's so valuable.
So valuable, yeah. And just to be able to spread it around everywhere is tight, you know. So.
Well, sure. Look, I suppose between dung and slurry, you're probably not getting much more than 50% of your farm, you know, at the best of times. So you just have to try and stretch it, you know.
It becomes very valuable very quickly. Yeah, that's probably good advice for anyone. You treat your slurry as if it's a valuable commodity. It is. Thank you very much for that. That was brilliant. For anyone listening, you've been listening to the Organic Matters podcast, brought to you by the Irish Organic Association. For more on organics, you can go to www.irishodganicassociation.ie. But for me, Hannah Quinn Mulligan, thank you very much for tuning in. And this is the last podcast of the season, but we'll be back again hopefully next year. So thanks to Aoife and Eamon and Mairead here as well for bringing us up to the very last one in the season. Thank you very much.